Welcome, everyone. This is Celeste of Astrology by Celeste, and I'm excited to have a cosmic conversation with Madeline. And if you are on Instagram or YouTube, you can put a comment, and then we can, or if you have any questions, you can ask them there. I've upgraded my tech so I can do both at once. And I'm so excited to talk to Madeline because I'm a huge fan of the Honeycomb Personal Almanac. And she is one of the creators of this. So, Madeline, why don't you introduce yourself and say anything else you'd like to say?
Sure. Yeah, my name is Madeline DeCotes. Along with my husband, Colin Hockett, we're the co-creators of Honeycomb Collective. Some of you may be familiar with our work. Like Celeste mentioned, our primary product is this customized, personalized astrological almanac / planner, which is tailor-made to your birth chart, gives you both the mundane and the natal transits all in one in your time zone. Just like basically a study tool that saves you time from having to copy everything out of the ephemeris yourself, which is what I was doing prior to creating this product. and which my husband Colin said, like, that process should definitely be automated. That is taking way too much time.
Exactly. That's how we get innovation because people see a problem and then have the gumption to go out there and create something to fix the problem. So I love it.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I always say for product design, if you should be solving a problem that you have personally. That's how you know that you might have a good product if it's actually instead of trying to imagine like, oh, what doesn't exist yet in the world. Just like solve your own problem first, and then you might find that there's a market for that.
Exactly. Yeah. And what did you do before you started this product?
Yeah. So I'm a graphic designer, communications designer, artist, sort of all of that bucket. And I know you've mentioned you have a background in corporate. I was actually working at the Nike World headquarters in Beaverton, Oregon at the time, just in an internal HR department where we were basically, I helped Nike communicate with itself. A lot of decks, a lot of PowerPoints, a lot of
Hmm.
just and web design, and sort of just like ways to kind of get data visualized, get complex ideas communicated. And so that's sort of my forte, is like data visualization and how to translate lots of random complex things into more approachable terms, if you will.
And it's so perfect we're talking today. The sun just went into Virgo, and that's a Virgo superpower, being able to take
Absolutely.
a list of something and be able to see things other people can't see and the organizational nature of it and
Yeah.
make it digestible for other people. Virgo rules the intestine.
So
So
I was just thinking, yeah, keyword on on like the intestinal digestive system. It's so funny to then put that on ideas and information. Um,
mhm,
it's so true. Like Virgo it's almost like they can see what it would like how much more functional something would be if it was digestible.
mhm.
Um, and then that naturally leads to like the following sign, Libra, being able to just have the beautiful thing that looks good and is approachable and relatable. But what came before that was all of the Virgo, like munching around on the data, trying to figure out what would be a good solution.
Absolutely, and before that, the Leo, having the
Mhm.
vision. Yes,
Yes,
astrology is so beautiful, it's
I know.
poetic. Each
But
sign goes like it's just I love it so much.
absolutely. Yeah, it's just the shudder of like, oh, the poetry.
Woo! And
Yeah.
tell everyone your big 3. What are your big 3?
My big three. I'm an Aries sun, Leo moon, Capricorn rising with Saturn in Capricorn.
Ah,
So I'm a big first house guy, at least in whole sign houses.
mhm.
In a quadrant house system, I'd be a big 12th house guy.
Ah, Okay. Yeah, we're going to
Mhm.
talk about house
Yeah.
systems. So, yes, but I wanted to talk about the almanac a little bit more and I just like these conversations to just flow. I have two planets in Gemini, as you know.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm. Yeah,
Mhm.
I think that's smart. I mean, obviously, like, just the natural dynamic that can occur between 2 astrologers, like, what does each person love about astrology? What do they love to study? It's because there's such a diversity in the field that I think once people start getting into the field, it can be kind of overwhelming. Like, "Oh, there's all these different schools, there's all these different traditions, all these different house systems." And so it's neat to kind of just see how professional astrologers connect, across those boundaries.
Absolutely. And I'm a moon girl and I loved it. I think when I first got the almanac, it didn't have the ability to put new moons and full moons, and then you added it.
Yeah.
So you're constantly innovating the product you already have, which I love. But yeah,
Mhm.
I absolutely love the moon cycles, watching them unfold, eclipses, and then I'm big on mundane, how worldly events correspond
Right.
to the astrology. So that's the stuff that really lights me up. How about you? What's your favorite
Well,
stuff?
I just wanted to comment because I know you're a Cancer rising. So,
Mhm.
being ruled by the moon, I think it's so interesting. Obviously, as a Capricorn rising, look at the opposite rising sign,
Oh, that's right.
you know,
Yeah.
where I'm like, I have to follow those longer term cycles. Like, okay, when Saturn enters a new sign every 2.5 years or so, here I go in a big new chapter of life. But then for people ruled by the moon, every few days kind of entering a new, like, a mini chapter of life, like that, like, mirroring but extreme opposite ends of time is so fascinating to me.
Mhm. Absolutely. Yeah. It is interesting having your chart ruler in a state of constant change.
Hmm.
Mm, I should think more deeply about that and how that shows up in my life because I have Saturn on my sun, so most of my life I
Mhm.
lived more like a Capricorn in disguise,
That
and
makes sense.
yeah, but it's been so like I was reborn when I started understanding my mood and diving deeper into it. And I've
Mhm.
become a more emotional person, which is good and bad, than I used to be.
Yeah.
Yes.
Emotions, take them or leave them. They're complicated.
My boo probably would wish I could go back to being less emotional.
I know,
But
it's like, that, like, Saturnian compartmentalization of emotions, like, I
mhm,
know what you mean. I get that with having a Saturn rising, but then having, like, a Leo moon. So, I'm
mhm.
just like, "Oh my god," my, like, Saturn just trying to control or trying to tamp down what Leo moon feels or even wants to express. Like, I understand that tension very well.
That's the king so it's like in your blind spot. That's
Exactly.
something if I can put in a little I don't know if you'd wanna do it. If you
Mhm,
consider an option for the king in the
mhm.
almanac, maybe
Yeah, like
people could turn it
maybe.
on or off, but I find them powerful, and I like to watch them.
Oh, totally. Yeah, like currently in the natal chart, there will be like a quincunx line will be drawn if it's within, I think, a 3-degree orb. But
Okay.
we haven't added minor aspects in terms of transit tracking.
Mhm.
And the primary reason is just because we're kind of at max capacity. Like having a printed product creates these Saturnian limitations. Like
Mm.
what can possibly be squeezed into the current format. But, I definitely would like to, or I imagine, like the vision for the future products will be options that are more like, say, like a page a day planner where you
Ah.
could just stuff it full of everything you wanna track, or the option, like you said, of turning something on and off, like maybe you wanna add quincunxes, but you'll take away, transits to the lunar nodes, or, there are things that everybody wants to kind of, you want to focus in the data to what actually you're studying. And so I feel like there'll be more innovation in terms of our products. It's just a slow process because of software being complex.
Yeah, it takes time, and you obviously think through, as a Capricorn rising, you think through everything,
Yes.
and yeah, you want to take time. What's your jam with astrology? Like, what really lights you up about it?
Ooh,
The studies.
well, just overall, like as we were alluding to earlier, the poetic, mythopoetic ability to describe life and to describe both the objective and the subjective experience, and like the amount of compassion that it can generate both for oneself, as like, you get your first natal chart reading or you start to study astrology and you're like, oh, this is why I am the way I am. No one's ever been able to describe me like this. And then you see maybe someone else, like someone who you've had a tension with, and then you look at their natal chart and it dawns on you like they're just perceiving reality totally differently from me. Their priorities, their motivations, their like literally the rules of the game are different from them. So how can I tell them what to think, or how can they tell me what to think? Because we're actually in different versions of, of the life experience. So I feel like that is part of why astrology is worth maybe spreading, because of how badly we need that in this day and
We
age.
really do need more compassion for each other. The world would be a totally different place if people could
Yeah.
just have some understanding of why people do things differently, and like
Yeah.
being the observer. That was one of the most
Mm.
powerful things. One of my teachers, Deborah Silverman, talks a lot about, being the observer, taking a step back, looking at things
Mm.
from this higher perspective without your
Mm.
understanding when you're clouding it with your personal way of looking at things. Yes.
Right. And it's tough, to do both, to be like, you're right there in your own mind, in your own life journey. There are things that are important to you, your sun or your like solar point of view on what's important. Being able to step back and see the validity of other people's points of view is
Mhm.
yeah, it's hard.
It is, and I still get tangled up in transits. So,
Mhm.
and for me, retrogrades are a big deal. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I gotta like put them on my calendar, circle them, because something I've learned about retrogrades is they kind of turn you inside out, and people will
Mm.
say things they normally wouldn't say, especially with Mercury and Uranus, the higher octave of Mercury, and
Mm.
which can be helpful because like the truth can come out, but it also can be like, uh-oh.
It's so true. Well, and then I'm assuming you are talking about it because of this year where we had both like a simultaneous Venus and Mercury retrograde in
Mhm,
the, across Aries and Pisces earlier this year, as well as a Mars retrograde. It's been
mhm.
a big time for understanding what happens when the planets, invert themselves or go back on themselves.
Yeah, and they're one of my favorite things to study now. Yeah,
Yeah.
so actually it was last year, last
Okay.
Mercury retrograded Aries. Woo! Got me. And the
Yeah.
Uranus retrograde that happened the same day or 2 days after Pluto re-entering the sign of Capricorn.
Oh,
Mm,
yeah. What so Mercury was retrograde in Aries, it was earlier in 2024? I'm like,
yes,
what?
in
I can't
eclipse
recall off the
season.
top of my head.
Yeah, it was
Eclipse
as
season.
eclipse season with the solar eclipse in Aries,
Mhm.
conjunct Chiron.
Oh, yeah, and with your
Mhm.
moon in
It was
Aries.
it was 2 degrees from my moon. It was
Oh,
just wild.
too much.
Too much. Yes.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel you as an Aries sun. Yeah, the
Oh, yes.
eclipses in the
Mhm.
Aries Libra axis were, it's just like, oh, what is all these this identity crisis? What is going on?
Absolutely. It was a big deal. Yeah. So if anyone has questions, you can put it in the chat. If you want to maybe just introduce people to what the almanac is, in case they're like, what are you talking about? What is this thing? Why
Oh
would I
yeah,
get it? And
I
let
know.
people
I'll
know.
open. open mine as well. I've
Yeah.
got here. So what is this thing? Why would I get it? Okay, let's think back. What's my elevator pitch? What is this thing? It's like a personalized transit tracker, but it's not just transits. There are other timing techniques in the planner as well. Like, for instance, if you're studying Hellenistic astrology, you can add the Hellenistic extension, which will show you zodiacal releasing periods. It will highlight transits of your annual perfected time lord, Hellenistic jargon. And in the coming years, we would like to add more, like techniques related to, say, Vedic astrology or medieval astrology. I'm a big Hellenistic buff, so that's kind of why I've started with that. And I don't want to put anything into we don't want to program anything that we don't quite understand yet. So it's just full transparency. I'm still learning Vedic astrology, still learning, medieval techniques. So it will take time to actually assimilate and digest all of that, as we were talking about Virgo keywords, before we can actually then go and develop the software that then creates, outputs. I guess the thing with the almanac is that you just go on, you enter out, you fill out the form, and then you get like a personalized one-of-a-kind book, printed and shipped to you. So it's different than those generic astrology planners, which will only show the mundane transits. It's the only kind of like affordable, internationally available product on the market, really, that's personalized to your natal chart. So
yeah. So you go to honeycomb.co. You can get the physical one, or you can just get a PDF, or both. I love the physical one. It has your name on the front. That was a nice touch. That's a Leo moon, and you said,
oh
you
yeah,
gotta put the name on it.
you gotta put the name on it, and your big three.
And your big three on the front. Yes.
Yeah, look at that.
Yes. And then it has your chart, your solar return, and here it has glyphs and helps you with all sorts. It's just a really amazing tool, and it's less than $50, and it's just absolutely worth every penny of it. So if you haven't, I recommend try it and see if you like it. And you have your personal transit. So you have on the pages, when is, let's say, Saturn making a trine to your sun or whatever. So
Absolutely.
it's really helpful to have.
If we want it, sorry, I've got a weird webcam that moves
that's
around.
perfect. You can see. Yeah.
I'll show, for instance, in Melbourne time, it's Saturday the 23rd. It's not. It's like reversed.
Yeah. So it has the new moons. It has all the moon phases, all 8 of them. I like how you added that, so you know when it's a balsamic moon or a new moon or whatever. We're seeing your hand.
Come back.
That's so in line. Today, the sun in Virgo is approaching a square with Uranus and Gemini.
That's
and
hilarious.
Now all we can see is your hand.
Now all I can see is my hand. Let me fix this. How embarrassing is that?
Don't worry about it.
I'll be back.
Oh, Sarah has one for herself, her husband, and her daughter. That's fantastic.
Oh, so sweet.
And loves it so much. Yes, it's such a great learning tool, and you could really see things. Yes, Jenny loves that the moon phases are included. Me too.
Oh my gosh.
What happened, Madeline?
It's just this. Okay, I'm going to try standing up and looking at it. I've got this.
Now we can see you.
Come back to me. It's this, it's like a complicated AI type webcam.
Oh, okay. Now it moved. Yeah.
There you go. It has a mind of its own. So it I don't know why.
AI has a mind of its own. There was a story recently about AI that a company had integrated into its systems that just decided to delete stuff. And it's like, yeah, I deleted it. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, you got to watch out for that.
You do. But it gets a mind of its own. Oh, and Dre loves their almanac as well. Yes. Well, why don't
Oh.
we segue into a whole house? Now, I use Placidus for my house
Mhm.
system. So, what do you want to say about house systems? Why did you decide on whole house? Did you ever try any others?
Yeah. Well, so I received a natal chart reading as like my first exposure to deep astrology, if you will, and it was in Placidus. And so I began studying in Placidus because so much of the software is default to that. And when you're just beginning to study, you don't really know about other options. But basically, when I was getting so obsessed with astrology that I wanted to learn more, I enrolled in Portland School of Astrology, which was an in-person, like tiny astrology school in Portland, Oregon. And the teachers there use whole sign houses. So it's as simple as that. I think most people just they s- they start their studies in whatever house system they're exposed to or whatever their teachers are using and or whatever kind of method you're trying to study, and you just kind of go from there. And so for Hellenistic astrology specifically, where we're looking at the ancient texts, the first astrologers from 2000 years ago, if you will, or 2500 years ago, a lot of these techniques are based on whole sign houses. And so I think it's kind of like, oh, if you want to study those techniques, use that house system. If you want to study, medieval techniques, you'll probably use like Alcabitius or, Porphyry or Regimontanus or, and so on. And then if you're studying, like modern evolutionary astrology, other types of astrologies, you'll probably use Placidus or Koch or, whatever your teachers recommend. So it's again kind of like the multivariant ways that astrology exists that can be represented by those different house systems.
Exactly. Yeah. And sometimes I think, and I'm like formulating in my mind about how Placidus and Whole House and how I kind of sometimes integrate them together. Cause I feel like if, like for you, if
Hmm.
your planets in Placidus, a lot of them are in the 12th house, that I haven't quite figured out how I want to articulate it, but
Hmm.
there's things about yourself that are behind you or like it's a little bit of a
Mhm.
blind spot stuff going on and
Right.
but it influences your vitality, the whole house, how other people see you, all of that first
Mhm.
house kind of stuff. But I'm still kind of teasing out how I would like it because my Gemini is in my 12th house in whole
Mhm.
sign, but it's in my 11th house in in Placidus. So I do a
Yeah,
lot. I have 5 planets in the 11th house. I love a lot of stuff around groups, friendships, organizations, all of that kind of stuff. But there's something
absolutely.
about how well, sometimes I can trip myself up in self-undoing with the things that come out of my mouth.
Yeah. Yes, Gemini 12th house, right.
Sometimes I do need that alone time or that retreat energy in
Mhm.
order to, like, come back to center.
Yeah. Well, so I guess an interesting premise is that if your ascendant is in a later degree, like mine is at 25 degrees
Mhm.
Capricorn, and I have 4 planets in Capricorn, but they're all earlier than 25. So it's kind of like the ascendant has already passed over, all of those guys. They've already risen. They're not like, if a planet is later in degrees than the ascendant, then it's just about to rise. And so it would have all this, like excitement and enthusiasm of like, I'm entering life. I'm coming onto the stage. You know what I mean? Like I'm about to
Mhm.
just take that steering wheel and drive it where I want to go. But so there could be a different quality, even if you're using whole sign houses, if you think about just the ascendant having already passed over, because the ascendant is moving very quickly, every
Mhm.
it's just second by second on the clock, it's moving in arc minutes. Um, I would think that, say, my, Saturn at 2 degrees of Capricorn is like, yeah, I'm not that excited about being born anymore. Like I know I'm still responsible for this life, but it's almost like it would be different if my ascendant degree were closer to Saturn. And so that's kind of a
Mm.
way of understanding the whole sign first house based on um, yeah, how closely positioned are any of the, if there are any planets in the first whole sign house, how close are they to the ascendant? How excited are they about driving the steering wheel? Because by contrast, my Mars is at 23 degrees Capricorn, so it's, you know, within 2 degrees of the ascendant, and so I'm very much more a like Mars rising person in a certain extent, you know, in a certain way.
I love that. I've never heard that perspective. That makes a lot of sense. And I'm
Mm.
kind of jealous that you have a Mars and Saturn and Capricorn because I love
This,
Mars and Capricorn. Are you just like an ever ready bunny who can just go, 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 go?
unfortunately, no.
Oh,
And this might be, there's, you know, there are other reasons. Like I have the South Node in Virgo, so
oh.
issues are a concern for me. You know, and Mercury is ruling the South Node from Pisces, so like the Lord of the node is debilitated.
Ah,
Um, and then another thing with like Hellenistic astrology, we think about like, oh, I'm a night chart, so Saturn is the Lord of the ascendant, but it's the, you know, it's the more problematic malefic, and
oh yeah.
so you're going to experience some of the troublesome, you know, even though Saturn is dignified, he's still going to be showing up as the more troublesome side. Like so anyway, long story short, I have I have the martial desire to accomplish a lot. And I'm constantly feeling like, why am I not as productive as I want to be? You know, because I get fatigued, or, you know, I
Oh,
have
okay.
like, yeah, I have like gut health issues that get in the way of really achieving as much as I want to. But that said, I think I accomplish a high degree of functionality given the sort of like unfortunate circumstances that I sometimes deal with, if that makes
Ah,
sense.
it does make sense. Yeah, I have a South Node in Virgo too, so I know
Ah,
that energy. Have you okay, so you do whole house. So it's your ninth house.
yes.
Mm.
Yeah, and so you're getting, if it were the whole sign houses, it would be the third house for the Cancer
Mhm.
rising. And is it
Yeah.
that in your Placidus chart as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Amazing. So we've got, again, the inverted sort
We've
of,
got flip nodes. It's really good to meet people who have the inverted nodes that you do
mhm.
because it's a it you can really learn from each other. My sister and I have inverted nodes. But yeah, so
Oh,
the South Node right now is going through Virgo. And I feel
yes.
like the South Node turns things inside out and like brings things to your conscious attention and
Mm.
about your Virgo traits. So have you felt that? Have you felt like
Oh,
a real magnification this
mhm.
year of the
Oh,
ways
yeah.
you express Virgo energy?
I have, and I've especially been thinking, like recently, because it's a nodal return, you know, it
Mhm.
ties back to 19 years ago, if you will, like the nodal cycle kind of goes on that. Every 8 or 9 years, we get the reversed nodes where South Node will be in Pisces, North Node in Virgo, but then about 19 years later, you know, it comes full circle.
Mhm.
And so I've been thinking back to like the way in which I was making some life decisions at that time, which would have been, you know, I'm 37 now, so that, you know, in my teenage years. But I made a lot of decisions in my teenage years that actually were detrimental to my health. And
Ah.
right, so I suddenly became vegetarian, like totally just like radically transformed my diet, or began like a restrictive diet. And I feel
Mm.
like, you know, like dietary type of stuff you know, is related to Virgo. And then the South Node being in the ninth house, it's like about belief systems, or, you know, like ethics and worldviews and so forth. And so you know, I was very much like morally and ethically convicted. Like we have to be vegetarian because of like the PETA propaganda that I had seen. And so I, you know, as like a 14, 15-year old, I was taking on all of this pressure to, to just like feed myself or to severely restrict my diet. And it
Ah,
had negative health outcomes for me. And I'm just kind of clicking now that I'm like, oh, the IBS that I've been experiencing for the past 20 years, even though I stopped being vegetarian when I was 19 years old or so. I'm like, I think I did actually, like, I made detrimental choices for my own health just based on what my body needed at that developmental age,
ah,
that now impact my life as an adult. And so it's sort of like the South Node, the way it can indicate, things that you do that might like drain energy or drain the life force, if you will.
yeah. Oh, and that's such a great example. You have your South Node in Virgo in the ninth house. So your
Yes.
belief systems led to dietary choices.
Yes.
And do you think it's because you have Mercury in Pisces?
I think so too. I think
Okay.
Mercury in Pisces was just like, even though I knew at the time that I was struggling, like I was losing hair, I was like mineral
Ah,
deficient, all these things. I was still so just like the kind of like the belief system or the faith, again, sort of Mercury in Pisces, ignoring the data that my body was presenting and just being like, no, it's
like, well, with being a
like
Capricorn rising with Saturn and
that
Mars
too.
there, it's like, I'm sticking to this no matter
Um,
what. That
Absolutely. And
energy.
this like personal suffering is nothing compared to, the suffering of the world.
Ah.
um,
Oh, and your Mercury in Pisces rules your sixth house. Oh, I see.
that
I get it.
too. Exactly.
Mm,
So
mm.
I mean, that's a bit of it's like a broad topic, and it doesn't mean to imply that other people's dietary choices are good or bad or anything. It's just I'm
It's
suddenly
just your
realizing.
experience of your own life.
Exactly, and that it
Yeah.
was, like, through my choices based on these, on, like, because Virgo, I think, can really like, some Virgo and Pisces can both kind of martyr or self-sacrifice because they want so badly for things to be, so, like, pure and holy and ethical and compassionate, and I think, yeah, they can sometimes overlook how like, oh, but you're in a body, and if that body goes wrong, you're not going to be able to do very much, good compassionate work for the world. So get your
Mhm.
priorities straight.
Mm, yeah, and how are you doing on your journey to the North Node in Pisces in the third house? Like, how do you feel like that's going for you at this point?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's very much about like trusting that I can communicate, if you know what I mean, like that third
Mm.
house kind of topic of expressing, almost of like taking ninth house higher, whatever, like higher learning or higher philosophical matters, and then bringing them into the third house where it's just, it's like casual conversations. The third house is much more just like, we're not necessarily in like a stuffy academic environment. We're in a podcast or we're just having chat. And so I love to just like casually chat about really, deep philosophical topics.
Mhm, and when you were a kid, was it hard to just have a casual conversation, or was it
Yeah, I
there
can
was
I
just
can think back to being a kid and just having so much like already forming these ideas of like, humans, I'm like 8 years old and just thinking like humans think that they are the pinnacle of creation, and yet we we don't even have claws. It's like comparing us to other animals and like, so I was like a very, very heady kind of child that
Mhm.
almost, so not necessarily that Mercury in detriment means that someone is like intellectually detrimented, but just that they experience the way that they think as being sort of at odds with their environment, perhaps.
Mhm, and like you just described it beautifully, having Mercury in Pisces and that South Node in Virgo and the way your chart's set up and the Capricorn rising, like coming into the world with like an old soul who's
Mhm.
like wants to talk about the philosophies of Buddha or whatever, or maybe the philosophies of Madeline, and your parents were probably like, "Where did you come from?" Or was everybody in your family like that? Just kind of like
Oh, a bit like
academic thinking or
yeah, no, my parents
intellectual?
were they're smart people, but who didn't necessarily get the chance to get into academia or get into
Mhm.
like a place in society where they could express that intellectual potential. They're both always been working class, and but like I have a very close relationship with my mother, who is a Leo rising. So
Ah,
like my Leo moon on her ascendant degree is really sweet, and
absolutely.
yeah, we get to just chat a lot about and she's a Mercury and Libra person, so um, definitely plenty of philosophical, intellectual conversations can be had, and sometimes I think I sort of like get to live out the potential that she didn't quite get to experience because of like when you're kind of stuck in working class circumstances, there's not a lot of time to just
Mhm.
fart around and think about astrology and philosophy like I get to do all day.
Absolutely, and it's even the harder for people today than it was when your parents were raising you, if
Mhm.
yeah, if they're in a working class situation, yeah.
Yeah, the wealth divide is getting more and more intense. I know that.
It's obscene. It's
It
absolutely obscene, but Pluto and Aquarius, what are we gonna do about it? So,
yeah, we're gonna
we'll
take
see.
20 years to see how these various social systems get transformed, get pulled apart from the roots. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm not. I like. I don't know if you watch the astrology podcast, like with Chris Brennan and Austin Coppock.
Yes,
Um,
I do sometimes. Yeah, it's a great
okay.
I love it when they do their forecasts. Mhm.
Exactly, the forecasts, and, like, Austin has a he's a Pisces sun, and I think some other Pisces planets, so he also has, like, a very poetic way of describing things, but sometimes it's, like, dark poetry. So,
Yeah.
he's talking about this Pluto and Aquarius timeline that we're in now as being like, "Oh, we're kind of like, we're in the cyberpunk dystopia." Like, the visions of, the early 1980s Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto in Libra, like that kind of time period. Now,
Mhm.
40 years later, we're seeing those types of movies or those types of visions that like the collective fantasy about dystopic future tech environments. Oh, now we're living in that. It doesn't,
Absolutely. Yes,
right?
art is a prophecy, whether it's music or literature or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, we
Yeah.
are, absolutely.
Yeah, and because he's describing like those visions, they always include these, like giant corporations that are, essentially trying to take over the world. They've superseded governments. There's all this high tech, but there's the low life. Like a lot of people are still just like kind of trying to scrape to get by, despite having access to such, like high tech tools. So I think that's fascinating, and it makes me again, just because I'm such a nerd for astrology, it makes me more excited to be alive in these wild times than I would be if I didn't have that kind of framing.
Yeah, it is a Wild West thing. And, oh, and Katie says, yeah, he Austin comes across as such a goth. Yes, he does.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has a great way of expressing, astrology. I wonder when this book is coming out.
Oh, for crying out loud. I know. And yeah. He does have courses about the Decans available on his website. So if anybody's
Mhm.
jonesing for the out of print book, you can still get his Decans content. I highly recommend it because it's studying, yeah, Austin's version of the Decans over the past few years has given me just like an even deeper, very rich, oftentimes gothic perspective of yeah, just like the nuances in the three portions of each sign. There's such rich imagery and stories that go along with each decan. I really recommend just buy those lectures if you can't wait until who knows when he releases that next edition.
Yes, that's gonna be wonderful. Because yeah, and if anyone doesn't know the decans, each sign is 30 degrees, and you can split each one into 10, and it has a different flavor, and it can help you deepen your understanding of the signs, or if you're do readings for
Mhm.
people, when you
Mhm.
understand some of those nuances. So that is great. Yes. Oh,
Mhm.
let's see. There might be some. Oh, what is your IG handle, Madeline? Someone's
Oh,
asking.
it's at Honeycomb Co. So that's at HNYCMB_CO. So it's like honeycomb if you took out all the vowels.
Okay. I typed it in for Instagram for you.
Thank you so
Ah.
much.
Oh, and Sarah says the moon is about to be her time lord, so she'll be using it more than ever. So yes.
Amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely pay attention to eclipse season coming up, like next month in September.
It's
We're having
here.
it's
I'm
here. We
starting
are
to see things coming up
I
for
have too.
Mhm.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
think
a
that's why
leader
I went on
already
that
got
deep
taken
dive.
out. I don't know if you saw the news, but
Mhm.
because eclipses are known for, especially the lunar eclipse, known for taking out leaders, and that CEO of Target was
Oh.
taken out this week, I believe.
Okay.
Mhm.
No, I've been off the news cycle a little bit lately trying to trying to zoom out a bit, because everything keeps changing so quickly every day. So I'm taking one
Yeah.
of those kind of those pauses, which of course we have the privilege to do over here in Australia. It's really not as hectic of a obviously of a news cycle as in
Mhm.
America
Yeah.
at this time.
And I encourage everyone to kind of step back and give yourself a break from all the frenetics of the news cycle. I mean, every day it's something,
Yeah.
and it's too much for our psyches. And with us
Yes.
having an eclipse in Pisces, a lunar eclipse in Pisces it's not next week, it's the week after, but it's going to be a biggie because we
Yeah.
have Uranus stationing retrograde on the 5th, and then
Yep.
the lunar eclipse on the 7th, depending on where you
Yes.
live. So it's like, what is the big thing, the big news, the big thing
Mhm.
that's Uranus retrograde? What's revealed that has us in Pisces energy, which could
Right.
be it could be something natural,
Mhm.
um, weather-wise, or it could be, yeah, it could be something, yeah, something shocking, undercover reporting. Yeah.
Mm.
Like a blockbuster news report. Could be about tech, I think.
Yeah. I
Something
would
about
definitely
tech and something about a corporation, I think, is coming out, and maybe what our corporate overlords, getting back to what you were saying earlier, plan to do with us that
Yeah.
people snap to attention. Like, "What?"
I know. That would be nice.
Mhm,
Or at least the snapping to attention. But it's hard because, I mean, I guess your advice earlier about stepping back,
mhm,
using Pisces energy to, to zoom out or to focus
mhm,
on your own frazzled nervous system, as is going to be
mhm,
the case with so many of us. Because I think part of the again, and I like I don't want to be too political or like frame things in terms of
You can say whatever you want.
well, I'm just like I know that there are some people who are really excited about, right-wing authoritarianism. So I don't want to alienate them.
I don't think they watch my channel because I flippity flap about
Okay. All right, fair enough. I'm
political.
like Pisces Mercury. I'm like, I understand there are reasons why, everyone this I mean, one thing, again, if we're free to speak freely, I think what part of like what MAGA wants from Trump is sort of and what all mass movements following an authoritarian leader want is for somebody to just like magically fix their problems, is
Mm,
somebody to come in and just like call the shots and clean up the mess and make their lives great again. And
mhm,
we keep wondering if we're not part of that bubble. We keep wondering, is this going to be the thing that helps break the spell from of that mass movement, sort of looking at their savior figure that is
mhm.
Trump. and seeing like what we see, those of us who see the like the shadow side of it. So
Who've read the fine print?
yeah, who
Will
kind of
they
like
take all your
understand how
money?
exactly, yeah, follow the money. Just think of how, um,
Yeah.
what he's really good at is being a con man. Like that's his
Mhm.
best talent. Over the years and like getting out of trouble, never having to face consequences. Like these are the things that he's good at. I don't know that he's actually good at, turning like turning big businesses around or like diplomacy or all the things that he's tasked with now. So if I were to hope for
Yeah,
something,
diplomacy is going just great.
oh, it's so good. Yeah, he's gonna get that Nobel Prize for sure.
He might. He might. I don't.
No, I wouldn't put it
Uh,
past him. He's very good at
uh,
yeah, he's very good at getting accolades that he doesn't
yeah.
deserve.
It was a Mercury retrograde story. Was apparently he cold called some Norwegian minister talking
Mm.
about it's wait, Norway is the Nobel Prize, right? Or am I
I
getting the
actually
country
don't
wrong?
know. I'm
Whatever
ignorant
country
about that. Yeah.
cold called him and
Mhm.
like a mafia don. Like, would it be nice? You got a nice country there. Wouldn't it be nice if your tariffs were lower or something like
Exactly.
that?
Yeah. Come on. Come on. Give me that Nobel Prize.
So he's
Yeah.
trying. So
I
we'll see.
know.
It's really
It's
it's got
hilarious.
interesting chat transits around that time. So I
Right.
let people know it might happen, but there's a Venus this it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that. But
Yeah. It's interesting
mm,
to see after he goes through and just like he's just changing the game on all of these institutions, like the
mhm,
reputation or the accomplishment that would have been required previously to like get into these positions where you might earn a Nobel Prize. That is being transformed because of him, because of who he is or how he operates.
yeah,
So certainly in this way, like Pluto and Aquarius is correlating with the transformation of intellectual institutions,
mhm,
which you could, I guess, kind of think of with Aquarius being that Saturnian air sign.
mhm.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
Saturn Neptune is really doing its job. I mean, they're meeting Saturn and Neptune and Aries and moving back to Pisces and then Aries right at the IC of the
Yeah.
United States. It's like all these institutions coming down. It's just astrology is so literal.
It's
Um,
so literal. I
mhm,
know. And it's so just, knowing as we've known, if we've been following astrology, for a while, the whole like the Gemini Uranus return of the United States as well. Like it's always correlated with a major conflict, always
mhm,
correlated with a dramatic um, rebirth in a way, or like a new identity for the United
mhm.
States. And so it's so hectic to be in that timeline now, to
Yeah.
be not knowing, if we see the seeds of potential for all these various ways that conflict could manifest, but we don't yet know. It's not history yet.
It's not history. We're living through it and
Yeah.
watching it unfold. And astrology gives us this thing that can help us. I don't know what I would do without astrology, first of all.
Oh,
I would just be like, what is going on? How is this
it's
happening? Da, 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 da,
it's
whatever.
true.
But it's just so poetic watching, even when it's horrible things or difficult
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
watching it unfold. Like I called Mars and Libra. One of the things I said was
Mm.
lyrical assassins. And I don't know
Oh.
if you pay attention to this, but my governor of California, Gavin
Oh,
Newsom,
I have
has started this on Twitter. His
Yes.
team is like coming straight at the stepping on the president's neck. So that's been really interesting to watch in a very effective way that has elevated his profile. And those two, their
Mhm.
charts are karmically knotted. So it's
Oh,
been
what is
really,
what's the synastry there with
yeah. So
Trump?
Gavin Newsom's got a Gemini midheaven. It's like 20
Mm.
degrees of Gemini, and
Oh,
Trump's North Node and
sun.
Sun are right there, and
Mm-hmm.
Uranus pretty
With
close.
Uranus.
And then on the other side, Gavin has Mars and Sagittarius at his IC. He's such a crusader. Oh my God, he's
Oh,
such a
yes.
crusader. And he, you know, like back in the day, he made gay marriage legal in San Francisco, and it was just kind of like almost like out of nowhere, and took the big risk because he believed
Yeah.
in it. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's on Trump's South Node and Moon, and so they
Right.
have this, and
Oh,
he's
I
got
love that. So
a
his Mars
Regulus
is on
connection
Trump's
too.
moon. So I
Mhm.
just want to sit with that because I'm like, that's what we need because Trump's such a martial figure. Again, having Mars very close to his ascendant in that
Mhm.
third decan of, sorry, I just tapped the microphone. I got too excited. I'm like, yeah, we need another Mars in a fire sign, like in a vulnerable, for Trump in a
Mhm.
vulnerable place
Mhm.
with the moon.
Yeah, and Gavin Newsom has Pluto on his Virgo ascendant, so he's a Libra sun with a Virgo ascendant with Pluto
Okay.
right there. So he is like,
Oh.
bring the fight to me. He's like,
Mhm.
you don't see it at first, but he's
The
mm,
Virgo ascendant with the eclipse season,
mhm.
just wondering how that will
Well,
because
I
it
just
once
want him
eclipses occur in the
to put
first.
him in I want to wrap him in bubble wrap. Is
I
actually what I want to
know.
do. Yeah.
Yeah, which is, I mean, but that's this, I guess, again, the sign of this time is that we can't be too precious with any, like, we can't pin our hopes on any one
No,
leader.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be more of that. Hopefully, I mean, again, if we're being optimistic, which Saturn will sometimes permit me to be, we do need more of the collective. You know,
We need the citizenry
we
to
need this.
be
Yeah,
with Saturn,
exactly.
Neptune, and Aries. We all have to step up and play a role in some way. We can't just expect a leader to do all the heavy lifting. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and kind of return, like re-engage with like what's democracy? What's the point of it? Because a lot of people are feeling so disenfranchised. But
Mhm.
uh, I'm just thinking like, go study history, study other international contexts, like look at places in the world where they do have an authoritarian regime in place and think about what it's like for it to be illegal for you to dissent against the government or for it to be illegal for you to even like access the internet without
Mhm.
censorship. Like go and get a different context and realize how good we still have it in still in the United States. There's still so much freedom of thought and expression, and yeah, that might be taken away soon, but while it's there, educate yourself and try to celebrate, like, this is why we have democratic institutions, like
Mhm.
they're not perfect.
Democracy's hard. It's hard.
Yeah,
It's heavy lifting. But if they did, and yeah, people will try to grab power. That's why it's so important to have these
absolutely.
rules and regulations. Yeah.
Yeah, and if we didn't have a democratic system, then we'd have some other power vacuum where some, like, it's never going to be anything better. This is my Saturnian optimism. It's like it doesn't get much better than this. so
Mhm.
so don't let it just collapse. Don't let authoritarians take over. Because it's, even if it's been, the U.S. government has been very influenced by big money and big corporations
Mhm.
and so forth, and that's kind of a losing battle. But we can't, like, eventually there will be a shift, and right now we're going through a shift that a lot of us don't want to have happen. And I don't know, I'm trying to just, like, I guess, like, talk back to the nihilism that a lot of,
A lot of people are,
especially
yeah,
young
being
people.
nihilistic. Yes. Now, that's not helping. I'm like thinking about Saturn and Neptune and trying to vision people laying down their arms. That could
Yeah.
be something that happens. Like an army says, "We're not
Mhm.
doing this anymore." And it
Ooh.
could I want to see a peaceful
Yes.
revolution with the North Node in Pisces and
Oh.
Saturn and Neptune in Aries. Yes, I really feel like the nodes, they tell the bigger story about
Mhm.
what's going on. And it's possible. It may
Mhm.
not seem probable, but it's
Mhm.
very possible. And
That's
yeah,
right.
it
Yeah,
doesn't
that's
have to be like we don't have to go into a completely dystopian world, even if it looks like it on the surface that this is
right.
what's
Yeah,
happening. Mhm.
that's very true, and that's I'm the queen of imagining the worst case scenarios.
We both have that Virgo South Node. Oh my God.
Exactly. I'm like, I've been ever since Trump got elected, I've just been consoling myself with the thought of like, as long as there's no nuclear war, as long as there's no nuclear war, like that's all I ask, God. That's all I ask. Yeah.
I hope not. Oh my God. Let's see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Love Win says, ironically, the 12th house is very difficult to articulate. Yeah.
Indeed.
Yes, it is.
Indeed.
Ah. Oh, I was talking a little bit about September 7th. Okay. Yeah. What are your thoughts about, Joanna wants to know, what are your thoughts about the lunar eclipse in Pisces on September 7th?
Right. So obviously if Pisces is an angular house for you, which in kind of in whole signs or Hellenistic speak, we talk about the first, fourth, seventh, and 10th houses, then natally, in your subjective experience of life, you will expect to see, the either the seeds of a dramatic change or overtly a dramatic change, because the eclipses just bring about these sort of portals of transformation, sort of how we think about it in Hellenistic astrology. So yeah, if you're like any of the mutable rising signs, then just sort of buckle up for the ride. If you're not a mutable rising sign, but you have, and I don't know if they're looking for, I always think of like framing things obviously subjectively first. Like
Mhm.
in your personal life, it'll be more dramatic for you if you have Pisces planets or you have a mutable rising sign. But then on the global stage, or like in terms of mundane astrology, um, I'd say I'm only like a baby mundane astrologer. So I don't give a very expert level take on that. But I think some of what we've just been discussing with my hope for like in the global sense would be more compassionate awakening, more broad, Piscean perspective, the like the ability for people to recognize that what the world really needs now is the awareness of how there are many different worldviews existing simultaneously, and their compassion is, like, and I guess maybe like protecting your compassionate self too, because a lot of people are feeling emotionally fatigued. I think after Saturn in Pisces, we're getting
Mhm.
Saturn back into Pisces, and so everyone just kind of seeing all of this content in their timelines that drains them emotionally. I'm wondering if the Pisces eclipse can correlate with like people. I mean, like maybe there's more dramatic emotional content in your timeline, but maybe the goal is to try to, again, like kind of create some space to zoom out and to kind of see everything in that. I just think of Pisces again as just like that bigger context. Um,
We got
just try to zoom out as much as you can so that you don't like collapse under that Saturnian Piscean emotional pressure. Um, like it's gonna, even if things aren't gonna be okay, it's still gonna be okay. Like this is just what
Mhm.
happens. This
Yeah.
is history. It's okay. History's dramatic.
Yeah. I wrote down a bunch of stuff about this
Excellent.
because and last night I was spitballing it with Uranus going retrograde. And I describe retrogrades as they pull back the tape so we can see what's underneath. And then the lunar eclipse in Pisces. And lunar eclipses bring full exposure. So the South Node's in Virgo. So what it can be about a system, like having some kind of break, because
Mm,
like eclipses are powered vacuums and or power surges, power drains or power surges. And since the north node's in Pisces, there's going to be a surge of Piscean energy. So, but fully like some kind of big deception revealed could be something. That's why I think there's going to be some kind of blockbuster or secret thing. But I wrote
Mhm.
awakenings with the force of a Mack truck bring forgiveness. Like you could have
Ooh,
something that, and it could be a family story with Jupiter and Cancer where like you
right.
suddenly something comes to your conscious awareness where you forgive a parent, a sibling, or something that for some things perceived harm from the past. That could be. So
Mhm,
think about themes of forgiveness.
mhm.
Um, I put the energy of eclipse season is like an earthquake and then a tsunami if your chart is impacted. And it doesn't have to be bad. It could be like something just jars you into like, whoo, some big emotional space.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
So,
yeah, the transformations could be amazing too. Like I recall having an eclipse in my second eighth house axis several years
mhm,
ago, and it correlated with like getting a new job that where I had a dramatic pay increase. You know what I mean? Like
mhm,
the big portals that you step through with an eclipse can, yeah, they can be fortuitous. They don't have to be, but it's sort of the idea that like you don't know exactly what's in your timeline with that, you know, with just the eclipse alone. You'd want to look at other timing factors for you as well. um, I
yeah,
think
but
it's a
that could
great point.
totally be like you get a big job, you're under stress with Saturn back in Pisces, but you're making more money, you're being tested, or maybe you're like, take this job and shove it and go out on your own. And then that's a whole
Mhm.
different kind of energy, like an awakening. I'm not doing this job for one other minute, and then
Mhm.
hitting the door. That could be
Yeah.
things people are going through.
Exactly, and
Mhm,
sometimes leaving something behind is, like, the best decision, you know, you could have made.
mhm,
Um,
but it's
but I wanted to touch on because you mentioned that Jupiter is in Cancer,
mhm.
so you just like in traditional astrology, when we use I guess, the ancient lords of the signs, like Jupiter ruling Pisces, it's such a different take on, say, Saturn in Pisces or the eclipse in Pisces, now that Jupiter is in a dignified position, like, in its exaltation in Cancer. So I would expect that, you know, for people having like a very personal experience with this Pisces eclipse, it should be like a, yeah, positive change, more so, or more of an optimistic shift. Maybe like being able to frame what the Saturn and Pisces years have been for you. You like ever since Saturn's first ingress to Pisces in March 2023, maybe this eclipse is correlating with, yeah, some kind of helpful perspective shift. Uh,
Absolutely. I love
yeah.
that. Ah, oh, and I was bad on I wasn't paying attention to the time. And let me see if I missed anything.
Hmm.
I'm sorry if I didn't get your questions. Ah, there's all these great comments. Oh yeah. So Joanna, we answered Joanna's question. Yeah. Yes, we're in YouTube as well. Yeah. Okay. Yes, humanity does love us all. Uh, okay. Okay. Will next year be better? Next year has a lot of challenges. I'll leave it at that. So,
When will it end?
yes, yes. So,
Yeah.
okay, so just again, tell everyone where they can find you and
Yeah. So at the moment, just go to honeycomb.co, just honeycomb.co, short for Honeycomb Collective. That's our website where you can order our products if you're interested. We have samples, like digital samples of the almanacs and calendars as well. So you can give it a little look see before you make the big purchase, or you can just buy a digital 6-month almanac, which is only $10 to get like, you get a lot of stuff in there that's the next 12, you know, like a full 12 months worth of transit information, but then you get like 6 months of actual calendars. And then otherwise, yeah, like we have We have a YouTube channel with hardly anything on it. We have an Instagram account with hardly anything on it, but it's my intention to change that soon. We're going to try to put out more content. We've been very behind the scenes the past few years.
Well,
But
you have
yeah.
such a great product. I absolutely love the Honeycomb Almanac. I recommend it to all my students, and yeah.
Oh, really? I appreciate that, Celeste. And you're a teacher at Kepler College, right? So if people want to, obviously they're following your channel. I don't have to be like, where can people find you?
Yeah, I'm Astrology by Celeste everywhere. So yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. I so love talking to you. I lost track of time.
Sorry, Mercury and Pisces problems will do that.
So
I'm like, we could talk forever.
Yes. Well, you have a beautiful rest of the day. Thank you everyone for joining.
And thank you so much for having me, Celeste. It was a real pleasure.
Are you going to UAC?
Yes, actually, I'm doing a talk at UAC. So see you there.
Wonderful. Well, we get to meet in person.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll look forward to it.
Take good care.
Right,
Bye.
bye.